Hello, me and SAT Score are going to be going over the must-have resource bureaus to get before the price increase happens in the upcoming patch. So if you guys don't know what the armory changes, research bureau ships, doubloon ships, steel ships, and coal ships are all having their prices changed. So in today's video, we're going to be focusing on the three must-have research bureau ships that are affected most by the price change. So let's hop right into it. So the first ship is going to be the hull. So the hull's price is going to be increasing in the upcoming patch in July. So this is definitely a must-have ship to get before that price increase does make it harder to get. What makes the hull so special is that it gets three Des Moines guns with a 3-second reload. And these things do pack a punch. This thing is able to Citadel. These are exact same shells as the Des Moines with that 3-second reload. And these guns really, really hurt. You can Citadel cruisers, blap, you can do tons of damage to destroyers. The ship does have a very nice heal on it with a specialized repair part. It heals up to about 8,000 damage, I think, normally, so it is a really nice heal. It also gets a propulsion as engine boost as well, 15%. Maneuverability on the ship is 35.6 knots, which is okay, but with that engine boost, it gets to a nice speed. The ship also gets defensive AA fire, which is really nice against CV since the ship does not get smoke. The ship is on a Sherman hull, so it is at the same size as a hull. Sorry, as a Sherman. So you do have to be careful if you are to match the CV or you're engaging other destroyers, because you do have the same concealment as well with being 6.5 kilometers. So it is a really good mid to long range HE AP farming destroyer. Really good at just open farming battleships or cruisers alike. It does tend to have a little bit weaker tendency against destroyers. So overall, you're trying to focus more on those mid to long range engagements against cruisers and battleships. But what are your thoughts on this ship, SAT?
So it's pretty much the gunboat, U.S. gunboat destroyer, but taken to a higher degree.
Mm-hmm.
Unlike the Sherman, it's literally designed to fly around in open water with speed boost, mind you, and either get to farm bow-in ships, or if you get the chance, you go to a broadside cruiser, get within about 8 kilometers or so, which is easy for most ships, and just go Citadel their broadside. You have exactly Des Moines shells, so you can wreck broadside cruisers like no tomorrow. It's kind of similar to Elbing in a sense. It's one of the harder ships to play, just because you are highly reliant on dodging. You do have a speed boost to help you out, but you're a little bit on the slow side without it. And you do also get a heal, so you can kind of take like better trades if you do get into a close-in fight. It's not, or if you take like the occasional damage. You do Hull technically has torps, right?
Yes, it does. It gets the same torps as the Sherman, but these torps do not turn or anything. They are in place. So you get two off of each side. They have a 73-second reload, and they do 17,900 damage with a 66 knot speed. These torps are really good if you happen to be kind of like in a knife fight with the destroyer going bow into you. It can be nice in that regard. Or if you're kind of randomly throwing them out on a flank, because they do have very long range, 16.5 kilometers. So you can throw them out, hopefully hit something, and when you do, oh yeah, you did a ton of damage. Or if you didn't, oh well.
Yeah, you just fire or forget. If they happen to hit something, amazing. But do not try to use it in the middle of the fight. You will regret it. Like,
Hmm.
the angles are horrible.
Hmm. So this ship does get 8 charges of depth charges per charge, which is okay for the ship. It does have a 6.9 kilometer anti-air, but unfortunately the anti-air is not the best, even with defensive AA. So a CV is going to have a lot of fun hovering around you and messing with you. So unfortunate, but it is what it is.
It's destroyer life.
Good old destroyer life. So overall, the ship has pretty nice maneuverability when you have the engine boost up, a very tight turning radius as well. Overall, very strong mid to long range gunboat. So would recommend for you open water gunboat enjoyous. The next ship we're gonna be recommending is going to be, well, it's going to be an honorable mention. It is going to be the legendary Druid. The Druid is a very unique ship in World of Warships, being one of the only destroyers that have bow-only guns, and you get 4 guns on 2 turrets. These guns are 127 millimeter guns, and you only have AP, but this is special AP. Uh, Correct me if I'm wrong, Steve, but this AP has both short fuse and improved ricochet angles, correct?
Yes, the ricochet angles is 60 to 75, which is quite dang good. I believe it's actually the same as the Minotaur.
Mm-hmm. So you get pretty much
Yeah, it's
Minotaur
same.
guns on a destroyer with a 1.7 second reel, which is really fast for a destroyer. So you get a lot of DPM. Survivability is 30,250, which is a lot of HP for a destroyer. It does get a heal, a 3 kilometer hydro, and the British short burst smoke generator, which is really nice to disengage or to smoke yourself out to be able to farm enemy cruisers, battleships, or farm out other destroyers. The ship is also able to citadel cruisers as well if they're close enough distance, which can be really nice when you're just packing just a wallop onto their side. So it's a lot of fun to be able to do that. I remember one time I went alongside a Mosfa like 5 kilometers away and just absolutely melted it within 10, 12 seconds. It was hilarious. He went from full health to no health, and it was just glorious. Also, in one of my funny compilations, I farmed a full health Shikishima from 2 kilometers away. I just kept right behind him to where his secondaries couldn't hit me, and I kind of just full healthed him to none, and the poor guy just cried. Poor guy. So the concealment of the ship isn't the best. It has a 6.6 kilometer concealment, which is kind of big for a destroyer. So you do have to be careful of that. Maneuverability, 35 knot top speed. Good rudder ship. Turning radius isn't the best. Anti-air, yeah, it's British anti-air. Don't expect much of it. It does get a very weird depth charge. You do get 9, and it has that launch off the back and some that go off at the side. But yeah, it's a very weird system for the depth charges on this thing. But overall, this is a very fun middle to close range anti-destroyer, anti-cruiser, anti-battleship destroyer. It's kind of like more versatile in that role, but I'll let SAT Score explain his side of the Druid.
Yeah, as Bo said, Druid is probably has the most unique playstyle of any destroyer. So you don't exactly your 6.6 concealment is not horrible, but it means that you do struggle to catch destroyers on their terms, like
Hmm.
Shimakaze. But at the same time, if you do catch a destroyer, you can literally just run him down with AP guns only. Because if the destroyer tries to fight you, you are bow in. You're harder to hit, and he's showing enough side for you to just plink him with your AP. And if he runs away, that means he doesn't have many guns, so you pretty much win the DPM duel.
Hmm.
So, yeah. So if Druid able to catch some destroyer out, it's pretty hilarious in that regard. You even get some hydro to protect you from torpedoes, because that is kind of a problem, but not really for Druid.
Hmm.
And of course, those daring type smokes and that repair party is pretty useful for when you want to just break contact and when you're just taking light damage from other ships.
Yep.
One notable drawback of the Druid, though, is that you have no torpedoes whatsoever. So bow-in enemies, like a bow-in cruiser or bow-in battleship, you're not doing anything. Just do something else.
Hmm. Yeah, I did forget
Uh,
to mention that, like you were saying, like pretty much if you catch a destroyer bow into you, he's almost guaranteed dead. If he tries to turn out, he's gonna get melted by your AP. If he sits bow in, you're just gonna slowly melt him. He pretty much has to just ram you at that point to do a trade. Because if he turns sideways at all to try to disengage, he's going to suffer. So if you fight,
mhm.
if you catch a druid, like if you're in a druid and you catch a DD bow win, it's pretty much a guaranteed kill.
It's the greatest benefit of her forward all forward armaments, but it's also a notable weakness since you can't play it like a standard destroyer. If you try to kite, it's pretty easy to lose all of your guns if you angle too much. And of course, having all your guns in the front And basically trying to beat Bao as a destroyer means if someone were to kind of get lucky, he can incapacitate your turrets in one salvo,
Mm-hmm.
which is funny for him, but not very fun for you.
That is unfortunate. So the druid is the honorable mention of this list. Now we're moving on to the two remaining ships that are in our recommended for this list. Let me just pull it up real quick. Unfortunately, I ran out of research bureau points before I could grab these ships because I was getting the irresistible. Irresistible's price is not going to be affected during the upcoming change, which is why it's not in this list. This list is only affecting the must-have research bureau ships that their prices are being affected in a bad way. So irresistible is not in this list. So the first ship is going to be the legendary Vampire 2. The Vampire 2 has actually, I say I'll let you cover this one.
Vampire 2, if you're a fan of daring, then you should definitely consider Vampire 2. So you get more HE DPM, you actually get much better concealment at 5.8.
Hmm.
Uh, but the thing is, you trade out smokes, and you also only get you only get a single fire, you can only get like a one single rack of torpedoes. But otherwise, it shares the same hull as the Daring, but there's a lot of differences in this Commonwealth destroyer. Like just the consumables alone makes it quite different, and that's why actually like there's a lot of things that Vampire 2 can do that Daring cannot, and vice versa.
Hmm.
So as for the DPM, as I said, Vampire 2 fires a little bit faster, so she has more firepower than the Daring. But notably, her AP shells they do not have improved bounce angles, unlike Daring. So you're not encouraged to start using AP whenever there's a destroyer fight.
Hmm.
And the other thing is you only get one rack of torpedoes instead of two. You do get longer range on those torpedoes, but the actual hitting power is not very much. Which, if you're firing at a Bowen target like a Moskva that's uh, camping on the island, is perfectly fine. But if it's out in the middle and you need to spread it out to get a higher chance of a hit, yeah, good luck. But what sets Vampire apart from pretty much every other destroyer is the fact that she gets the crawling smoke generator.
Yep.
So how the smoke works is that instead of other smokes where where you emit it for probably about 30-40 seconds or so, and it stays there for a while. You emit the smoke, and then as you move, the smoke will stay for like about 10 seconds or so, trying to cover you as you go. But it's not like it's kind of like a halfway point between the Italian smokes and the standard smoke. It will stay there it's long to the point where you can farm some damage out of it, but you can't go full speed and be covered with it. Instead, you have to go at about quarter speed. That way, you stay in smoke. You quote unquote crawl your way forward while staying inside of smoke. So this normally is used so you can just farm. You can just move a little bit while you're farming. Like if you want to poke out in front of an island, shoot, and then duck back in, or if you just want to move a little bit to avoid torpedoes. That's where Vampire 2 has the advantage over other destroyers. However, the big downside is that you cannot, once you use your smoke, you cannot stop emitting it. So let's say you run into a destroyer, you actually just use the smoke to get away. That that is fine and all, but unfortunately, the smoke will still continue for another 1.5, almost 2 minutes.
Hmm.
So smart enemies can use that to their advantage by knowing exactly where you are for those 2 minutes. They may not be able to shoot at you, but they can tell if you're trying to come in and get aggressive again, or you're just running straight away. So you have to be careful on how you use that crawling smoke, because it can easily backfire on you and be unusable for like literally 3 to 4 minutes if you're not careful.
Hmm. The Vampire 2 also
However,
has a 5 kilometer hydro, correct?
yes, that is the other big thing over the daring. Unlike daring's Hydra, where it's limited to self-defense, the vampire's 5 kilometer hydro lets her be a little bit more aggressive. Like if a destroyer is camping behind an island. It's not as good as the Germans, which is the 6 kilometer hydro, but it's enough where in some situations you are able to rush down a destroyer. So when I'm talking about the Vampire 2 right now, I'm just referring to it as if you're playing her solo. Now, there is this little funny tactic that me and Bo like to use, in which you use that crawling smoke to literally advance whatever ship you want forward inside. So, for a standard smoke, you have to sit in one place and have him basically go into it. But the disadvantage of it is if the enemies run away, then you can't really move your smoke forward to continue the coverage.
Hmm.
But with the Vampire 2, you can run full speed at the enemy while you have your smoke buddy literally following you in smoke. So yeah, enemies tries to run, you run them down with him. That is a that is one funny thing you can do with the vampire. And of course, you get that Hydra to help ward off inevitable torpedo attacks, because that is one common way they try to stop this tactic.
Hmm. But yeah, overall, Vampire is a lot of fun to play. Great solo ship and a great team playing ship as well. So thank you, SCD, for that one. So the last ship on our recommended list is going to be the legendary Colbert. You guys probably know this one as John's favorite ship in World of Warships. So you see Colbert, you're instantly going to think of John the Ruthless, the legendary COTS winner, also legendary '07 team member, and Rain. He's on a lot of different teams. He's been all over the years.
Mhm.
He's been all in all the top clans. He still
Oh
is.
yeah, he can get into any clan he wants. He's just that good.
Nope,
Like no questions asked.
he's literally a legend. So, what makes the Colbert so special, SAT? I know that this ship has a lot of DPM. A lot of DPM. It has you can do a DFA or a 5 kilometer Hydra with a very nice engine boost and a heal. The ship does have a a lot of guns. You get 8 turrets and you get 16 guns in total for 100 for the 127 millimeter guns. And this thing is an absolute monstrosity with that DPM. Maneuverability is also very maneuver as well with that engine boost and its top speed. And it has a very tight turning as well. So you can use that to really do a lot of dodging and weaving while you're farming targets. It also has a very nice concealment as well. Anti is actually pretty decent on this ship as well. And you do get airstrikes, which is really nice for a tier 10 cruiser. Survivability, though, it's about average for a tier 10 light cruiser with 36,000 HP. So the hull, yeah, very squishy. So don't get shot at and you'll be good. But what are your thoughts on the legendary Colbert?
So Colbert is the ultimate expression of speed and firepower. So her 16 5-inch guns, it has the highest, one of the highest theoretical DPMs in the entire game. As for her speed, she is easily one of the most difficult ships to hit. That's not a destroyer, of course. So if you ever seen John the Ruthless play, he is just literally godlike at the ship, and that is because this Colbert is arguably the hardest ship to play in all of World of Warships. You don't have much room for error because you have to be on point with your aim. The Colbert guns are a little bit on the floatier side, so John makes it look easy, but it's actually quite hard to aim literally destroyer caliber guns at the typical distance he's shooting at, like
Hmm.
past 10 kilometers. But at the same time, Colbert is heavily reliant on dodging because her armor is not very good, to put it politely. if a battleship shoots you in the or even looks at you funny and you don't dodge it, you can easily lose half your health. But at the same time, that's what makes Colbert so enjoyable to play, because she's so hard to play. It's also extremely rewarding when you play her correctly. Because if you like, imagine just being that enemy on the being that enemy, literally unhittable, even though five ships are shooting at it, and it has the same firepower as all these five ships, but actually hitting it. That's what it feels like whenever you're fighting off against John. It's like, how do you beat something that's literally unhittable and will literally burn you to death no matter what you do? She is the most difficult ship to play correctly, but whenever you do play her correctly, you will feel like John. You will feel like the best player on the server, easily.
Mm-hmm. Yep, thank you so much for that SAT score. But yep, that is going to be it for the day. So all the ships we mentioned, their prices are going up in the next update, which is in July. So make sure to get any of the ships that you're interested in. If you have any questions or concerns, definitely let us know in the comments down below. But thank you all for watching, and we'll see you all in the next video.